Hello, my name is Jessica Bandau and I am a trainee solicitor and a trained mediator from Bodge, Dodge and Hassel Solicitors. I hope you don't mind me calling yourself Esmeralda and you can call me Jazz. So I understand that yourself and Anakin are looking into the process of mediation. So I will explain to you a few of the advantages of this process and what you can benefit from it. So firstly, again, I will explain to both of you that you will both be able to reach an agreement that will not be imposed by the courts. And I want to include a quote from Lord Justice Mumry, who states, "The unfortunate consequences of a case like this, a boundary dispute, are that in the absence of any compromise, someone wins, someone loses. It always costs a lot of money and usually generates a lot of ill feeling that does not end with litigation. None of those things are good for neighbours." So again, this reiterates how keeping the air clear between yourself and Anakin will be beneficial, as again you are neighbours and you would most likely be seeing each other on a daily basis. So I'd also like to state that I will be impartial and not biased to any sides. Instead, that I will concentrate on looking for the best solution for yourself, Esmeralda, and Anakin. And I am not here to pick sides or pick a winner. So the next thing I'd like to state is that the mediation process will open up communication and will allow both of you, Esmeralda and Anakin, to express how you feel openly, as often neither side of the dispute has understood why the other feels as it does, so you may not necessarily understand how Anakin feels, or Anakin may not necessarily understand how you feel, Esmeralda. Furthermore, this is a speedy and cost-effective process. Hopefully the dispute can be settled in a day and at a fraction of the cost of the court proceedings. This is particularly shown in the case of McNabb and Richardson, where the court costs both parties roughly around £60,000, which is what the mediation process is trying to avoid and save both parties a lot of money. And lastly, often a settlement is reached that includes easements over rights beyond the scope that a judge can impose. So next I would like to discuss the process of mediation with yourself, just so you know what to expect throughout this process. It is important that I state to both of you, Esmeralda, that you do not interrupt when each of you are speaking, as both of you will have the full opportunity to put forward your best case. If you have issues that you feel need to be expressed, I strongly encourage that you write them down and we can revisit them later. Also, everything that you express will be confidential, and I, as the mediator, will not repeat or imply to another party anything that you have said, and all discussions will also be confidential. Furthermore, this mediation process is voluntary, so you, Esmeralda or Anakin, are able to leave at any stage you feel that this process isn't working for you, or you'd prefer to either take it to the courts. So the next phase is that you would hopefully enter as exploration phase, where both of you, Esmeralda and Anakin, will be directed to a private meeting room with myself, or a personal meeting, or you could be willing to have a joint meeting with Anakin, where you can both present your respective case. And furthermore, after that, we will hopefully enter the negotiation phase, where both of you, Esmeralda and Anakin, would maybe consider putting forward your proposals. I will not come up with a settlement itself, but instead I will help guide you to reach a settlement that you can both agree with and that you both feel comfortable signing with. And at the end of this process, we will enter a joint meeting to confirm this settlement, just to make sure that everyone again is comfortable with how they feel and just to avoid future problems. So it's important that I now discuss with you the agreed terms of the settlement, just to make sure that you are happy with everything agreed, and again with Anakin. So the parties have hereby agreed to the following: that firstly, Mrs. Earwax, yourself, is to pick up her puppy's excrement wherever it goes to avoid a foul smell, as this would not bother Anakin anymore. Secondly, Mr. Skydiver is to keep his volume level at a reasonable volume when listening to his music, so you won't be able to hear One Direction when he's playing it loudly. and other neighbours cannot hear his music either. Thirdly, the guests of yourself, Mrs. Earwax, not to park on any of Mr. Skydiver's land. This is just to avoid any nuisance for when he's trying to enter his property or leave his property. And fourthly, the fence is to be erected in between the boundaries of which both parties believe it is. So the fence would ideally be erected in between what you think is the boundary, which is the blue line, and what Anakin thinks is the boundary, which is the red line. So it's happy medium, and you'd be able to, again, open up your car door to prevent further back problems, and he would be able to also erect the fence to avoid any future problems. As it is clear, a fence does need to be erected to avoid any future disputes. So after hearing these terms, I strongly advise you to sign the agreement to avoid any future problems with Mr. Skydiver, and just to keep everything on a even basis with him, so you can both enjoy your land in peace. Thank you for your time.